Módulo 12. Sculpture. We are all familiar with sculptures we have seen in museums, pictures, in books, and in the cities in which we live. But how often do we ask ourselves, what went through the mind of the sculptor who made it? From a historical point of view, we can easily answer our question up to the modern period. The Greeks wished to copy reality in the most perfect way they knew how, using the most available material, marble. The Romans, following in the Greeks' footsteps, placed in their temples, gardens, and marketplaces sculptures of athletes, gods, leaders, and warriors. During the medieval period, most sculptures were executed for religious purposes. The saints seen today at Chartres, Notre Dame, St. Peter's, and Cologne were placed there to teach the faithful, as formal education wasn't available. The sculptures and stained glass windows were the teachers to the congregation. Henry Moore tells us it is necessary to go beyond this wish of ours to name sculptures. We must see modern sculpture as from itself. The Renaissance was a conscious attempt to return to the glory of Greece, and for the duration of the 15th and 16th centuries, the palaces and cathedrals were filled with sculptures of a quality not surpassed by the Greeks themselves. We have only to remember the work of Michelangelo. In the 17th and 18th centuries, a more ornate sculpture was evident in Europe and Latin America. The Baroque epic saw the likes of cherubs, demons, knights, kings, and mermaids sculptures in palaces and government buildings. But the neoclassic period, or 19th century, was less elaborate, the sculpture preferring the cleaner lines of the classic and Gothic periods for his figures. Then, all of a sudden, in our century, reality or copying reality was rejected in sculpturing. This rejection followed several paths. The primitive sculptures of Africa were used as models, as well as the attempt to sculpture in a new perspective. When confronted with these modern pieces, our first reaction is, what is it? Is there a way to understand it? It does us no good to answer, only the sculptor knows. We must work especially hard, perhaps, but we can understand it if we go to the writings of modern sculptors. Henry Moore, for example, tells us it is necessary to suspend our desire to equate a sculpture with a thing. A walnut, a shrimp, a tree limb, a sloth, a mockingbird, a peanut, a pigeon, an okra pod, a peanut. If we can go beyond this wish of ours to give names to sculptures, we can understand that a modern sculpture is from itself. Vamos a los ejercicios.